Hello again. It's been about a year since I uploaded my video onto YouTube entitled Building Your First Computer. Well, since it went viral, I was sought after by NASA and they offered me a job in maintaining the servers for the space shuttle program. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. Okay, so my video didn't go viral, and NASA didn't offer me a job either. And that's just as well, since the space shuttle program went belly up. At least they didn't have me to blame. Yes, it's time to get real. Last year I built my first PC, and for those who haven't seen the video, I'll review some of the key components. I started with a Thermaltake Level 10 GT case, added an Asus P8 Z68 motherboard, and Intel i7 2700K processor. Other components included a Corsair H100 liquid cooling system, 16 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance RAM, and the operating system and programs were installed on a 2 gigabyte Western Digital Black Caviar hard drive. The build was a success with very little complications. However, it wasn't my perfect PC. Now that I was a pro at building PCs, I needed an excuse to start all over again and build the PC of my dreams. Didn't take long to come up with that excuse. I invited my son over to show off my newly built system, and as I was going through the various components, I looked up at him and he was yawning and looked rather bored. I didn't understand what was going on. He works for IT, he loves to game, he builds his own computers, and then it dawned on me. He's jealous. He wants my computer. So there it went. Now, I believe I have rebuilt the perfect PC for any media or gaming enthusiast, and this is why. Don't panic, this is not an unboxing. I wouldn't do that to you. What I will do is go through the components of the new build. And to back up, I did give my son the motherboard from the previous build, the processor, and also the Corsair H100 liquid cooling system because I needed to take that out in order to get to the motherboard. But I kept everything else. So hopefully I'm not going to get tongue-tied going through all of these components. But I will start with the motherboard. I changed off the motherboard to the P9X79 Pro. And I went to the extreme side now. So I had to get an extreme processor. I got the i7 3960X. I don't know if they have the new one out yet, but at the time this was the top of the line, and in it went to the motherboard. The upgrade to the system is that I went from 16 gigabytes to 32 gigabytes of the Corsair Vengeance RAM. I kept the Corsair HX 850 watt power supply. Seems to work fine. I did end up buying another Corsair H100 liquid cooling system. It's working beautifully. No noise whatsoever. I used the fans that came with the system, with this. The graphics card, EVGA GeForce GTX 580 with 3 gigabytes of RAM on board. This is also from the previous build. What I did different, I installed my operating system on a 240 gigabyte SSD. This is the Intel 520 series. And I also added 2 more 120 SSDs in a RAID 0 configuration for special projects that I have going on where I want the speed. In the 5 1/4 inch bays, I put in a, this is wonderful, this is called a Pro-57U, and it's USB 3.0 supported for your USB devices, and also SD and compact flash cards. Love it. You'll see it in the system. Also, I have two light on. One is a Blu-ray disc writer. The other is a 24 times DVD CD writer. I have a icy dock bay that fits into the 3.5-inch port that's in the front of the case, and this is where the SSD to the operating system resides. Has a lock on it if you need one. And also in the 5.25-inch bay, I have an icy dock rack that supports 4 SSDs, and I'll explain what I've done with that too. Did I miss anything? Yes, I've added an Adaptec RAID card. It supports 8 SATA ports, and I actually have 2 SSDs configured in a RAID 0 configuration and 5 Western Digital hard drives that I will be putting into a RAID 5 configuration. And I did end up putting in one of these fluorescent lights. It looks wonderful in the case. And I think that's pretty much all of the components. From the start, I fell in love with the Thermaltake Level 10 GT case for its design and functionality. It has 5 hot swappable bays on the side, 4 5.25-inch drive bays in the front, and 1 3.5-inch bay. The airflow is no problem. The only problem I had with the case was getting the cables organized in a very small space that is designed for this purpose. They need to allow for more space in back of the case. Otherwise, this is a perfect case. Now I'm moving on to the front of the case. In the first bay, there's the CD-DVD player. Second bay, the Blu-ray writer. The third bay, the AF Pro 57U that I talked about earlier. It has a USB 3.0 port here, and it also supports high-speed SDXC and UDMA cards. Here is the icy dock rack that can support 4 SSDs. It has its own fans as well. And in the upper 2 racks, I have 2 SSDs in a RAID 0 configuration. It's wonderfully made. In fact, it's all metal, and if you want to access your drives, this is how you do it. You just apply pressure here to close it, the same. It's wonderful, hot swappable as well. My operating system is in a single icy dock, and this is the icy dock that comes with the lock. So that's pretty much the front. It has all the ports that most of the modern cases have: USB 2, USB 3, fan controls on the top. Now this is what it's all about. Very clean, very spacious, and quiet. I'm very pleased with the Corsair H100 water cooling. It seems to be doing a fine job. All the temperatures are in check. And I was concerned when I put in the RAID card that the system may get very hot. A lot of information on the internet about that, but because this case has such wonderful airflow and the side fan is blowing directly on the RAID card, I've had no problems. All the monitors in the system are within check. The temperatures are fine. Another thing that I would like to bring up is when I installed the Light-On DVD CD player and Blu-ray writer, I made sure that I put all the screws into the case so that there wouldn't be any vibration. I did read on eBay that there was some problems with vibration, so I made sure I did that, and there's absolutely no problems at all. Another reason I found this a perfect computer is because the motherboard could handle anything I threw at it, including the amount of RAM, the video card, the RAID card, operating system, program files, you name it. I have had no problem whatsoever with this motherboard. And I'm also very happy that the 850-watt power supply could handle everything, but it's probably because I only have one graphics card. Here is the view of the RAID card. On this computer, I've installed the Adobe Creative Suite, which includes Adobe Photoshop, Premiere Pro, and After Effects, among other programs. I have Adobe Lightroom, Sketchbook Pro, and many other programs that require fast processing. This computer can handle it all flawlessly. So here you have it, a perfect PC, at least for me. If you are a gamer or a media enthusiast and can afford this, I say go for it. This is my second build, and I've had no problems whatsoever. Everything that I threw at this computer just seemed to melt together flawlessly. I hope this video inspired you to go out and build your own perfect PC. As for me, I don't think I'll be rebuilding anytime soon. But the beauty of the human mind is that we have the ability to change it. Yes.